Alrighty, good morning, everybody. It's Friday, February 16th, 2024. Let's go ahead and jump back to yesterday and see what happened here. Now, the morning for about 3-4 hours of the trading morning was just a total chop fest. So there's really nothing you can do about that. Let's go ahead and jump on back here to the open. Now, if you kind of zoom out, look, our holy orange power level, the only really proprietary level that we use was the rotational point throughout the day, right? So it came up into it, failed off of it, got above it, tried to hold above it, got below it, tried to hold below it, and then back again above it. And, as you can see, it rode above it when it got above. When it got back below, we held it to the downside. So all throughout the day, and then finally, the pullback that led to the breakout or the pop higher was to the tick right off of it. So pretty awesome in that regard. It also, our 50-31 half roadmap level that I kind of have to eat my words because we tested it in the pre-market to the tick, and I told you I was going to disregard it for the rest of the day. Well, we tested it 3 times, and you could have made a lot of money on the pullbacks from that level. But we did have that on the charts. I told you I was probably just going to ignore it at that point since we were pulling back off of it. We had the 4-hour bearish signal up over here, and we were expecting the market to attempt to pull back. So when the market opened, we were in that pullback, and then they held the previous daily close nearly to the tick to pop up and then fell off that 31 half, that roadmap level that we added to the chart within the last day or two. And then they came down, had to kind of shyly peek through that low of the morning there, and then we began a little bit of a stair step. It wasn't necessarily beautiful off every level on the way up, but essentially we held the previous daily close, then we held our scaffolding, and then to the tick we held the hopeful, and then it broke out from there. Never came back to test 31 half. 31 half has been an incredible level in the market for the last 2 or 3 days in a row. If you go up to, let's pull up the 60-minute quickly here and just look at 41 half. Zoom that in. 41 half is this area here where we tested into that news event, peaked in, pulled back. Then we held it nearly every time the market came and pulled back. And then later on, back on the 13th, came right to it in the overnight, failed right off of it. And then just a couple days ago, or actually in the overnight session here, at the end of the day, we held, and then in the overnight held it to the tick and tried to go ahead and break out back up to test the high of the week, which was up here at 66 half. So pretty incredible level there that we were playing with. It's just happened to have been super relevant throughout the week, and but we never came back to test it there once the market broke out. It was just too aggressive, but we did get those beautiful steps right up the 200 textbook holds. Did have a little trouble at 40, trying to get through it there for at least the first couple tests. And then we held up through it and then pulled back to hold 50-40 to the upside to come up to the high of the day. So again, the first 3 hours, total chop fest. Now this right here, in my opinion, good opportunity, right? As we're failing from the high, the first roadmap level that I gave out in the report, we got our crossover. We kind of got back through VWAP. It came up and tagged right into the hopeful again. The issue is if the market is just doing this, and let's move it back to before the test, and it's just chopping back and forth, in my opinion, that would have been somewhat of a risky try, given that for 2 hours the market just kind of popped around, or at least for the first hour there. But that would have been a really, really sexy entry and in the direction of that break and the crossover. So that was a good opportunity there. But again, it was right in the middle of the morning chop. So would you have taken that? Would I have taken that? Probably not. But great opportunity there. And then again, that pullback to hold it was still, coming back to basically test into about 50% of this morning chop range. So whether it would have been a smart thing to trade inside of this pocket, that's up to you, but that was probably the second coolest thing to happen there. And then we came up and Never really got back. We were almost all the way up. Where were we on the 60-minute? I'll pull it back here. We were almost all the way back up to test into the all-time high or the high of the week up here, but failed just kind of in front of it. And I don't think, we had any level for where we closed there, but just kind of attempted to come up, to come back to that high, and then just petered out. Again, interestingly enough, pulled back right to our roadmap level at 40, tried to pop to new highs in the overnight session, and now here we are pulling back. So let's look at the detail of that. Coming into the overnight session, again, parried right off 50-40. I mean, how many times do these levels just hold over and over again? It kind of blows my mind. At some point, it seems like, well, we've tested it so many times to the tick that can I rely on it again? And then it hold again. Just kind of blows my mind. So nice hold in the overnight, the low of the overnight session, at least for the first few hours, right off of there. Got back through the VWAP and then tried to kind of stair step up even higher. But then, as you can see, bears jumped in here off the highs. We have another 4-hour bearish signal from the high. It looks very similar to yesterday morning, where we have all these, we have all the bullish stuff supporting this push, and then we get our 4-hour bearish signal right around 5 a.m. Central Time here, and then we get this deep pullback coming into the open. Again, interestingly enough, we've got our stair step once again, right? 50-40, now 50-31 half. There's 50-31 half, that level that we added to the chart a couple of days ago. It also happens to be 50% of yesterday, right? 50-31 quarter, 50-31 half, and now we're trying to bounce back up. And what do you know? A rotation right off 40 again. So that's where we are coming into the open this morning. Let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames.